Fortress Edgbaston has been taken. The Aussies go 1-0 up in the Ashes series. We will discuss all this and plenty more on episode 23 of the Kingsgrove Sports Centre Podcast. Hello everybody and welcome to this new episode of the Kingsgrove Sports Centre Podcast. As I said, we will talk all things Ashes. Australia have gone 1-0 up. Joining me to discuss all of this is Stephen Green. Good morning.
Good morning.
And David Jifkins. Welcome back.
G'day.
And of course, we have the man that makes this all work in the corner, producer Nick. How are we going?
Doing all right this morning. Producer Nick here. Man, that was a veteran introduction.
Thank you very
tell
much.
You got a lot of experience now on the podcast microphone.
Thank you very much.
Smooth. First take, real smooth.
Good, yeah. We're all a little. We're a bit bleary-eyed. We've had five long nights of Test cricket, but it's all been worth it because Australia has produced the goods and come up with the victory. As I said, at Fortress Edgbaston, defences there weren't very good. We stormed the gates and we've got the job done. So, what do we make of it?
It's a funny old game, actually. It's a game of two halves, as it were.
Oh, the old football analogy.
First couple of days, England were all over us, and then it sort of evened out on day 3. We led by 34, 3 down. And then that day 4, the great man took over, and then day 5, the bowlers did their job absolutely beautifully, and as a partnership, and they got the job done.
Yeah, well, the great man dominated most of the game. To be fair, he got us out of trouble. The great man, of course, is Steve Smith. Got us out of trouble. What we were like 8 for 122 or something.
Yep.
And then a couple of big partnerships with the batting all-rounder Pete Siddle. And the GOAT Nathan Lyon got us to that total in the first innings of 284. Remarkable comeback, really.
I did enjoy Siddle's work, to be honest. I know he was a bit maligned that he shouldn't be there, but he did a job with the bat, and then he actually bowled really, really well. And it was unlucky last night not to get a wicket.
Oh well, yesterday some of his deliveries were.
Could have got 4 last night. I thought he was sensational, actually. They played and missed him so many times. He's gone through him, so close to LB a number of times, and he deserves to be there.
We might discuss a bit of umpiring later. Oh boy.
I think I can remember some stats on the referrals.
That might be a separate podcast, I think. So yeah, and then obviously, England, they would have been feeling confident. Obviously, day 1, 8 for 122. But then they sort of just didn't really have much apart from Rory Burns getting 100.
Yeah, former Saint, Rory Burns. He got slayed for being a bit ungainly, and technique was a bit all over the shop. But it doesn't matter how you look as long as you get the job done.
No, well, Steve Smith proves that, doesn't he?
Well, exactly right. It was just brilliant performance from him.
Yeah,
and I think both the first innings, the tail wagged.
Yes.
And that sort of drags the momentum back to that team. And you saw England got early wickets again in the second innings. But then once it stopped and Steve Smith took over, it's just those momentum swings when you don't expect batsmen to do what they do.
Yeah.
It just changes games.
What do we? So obviously, the Australian selected 11 to begin with was a bit interesting. Obviously, we've spoken about Siddle and the job he did, and he did it well. And then Wade at number 6. What do we make of that?
He deserved to be there. He really did. He even Ricky Ponting said that the way he was playing in the nets and everything, he's probably the best batsman in form at the moment.
Yeah,
and.
We proved that second innings. First innings, I thought, you
get out. Sometimes you get out early.
Yeah, what have you done? But then second innings, when he just came in from ball 1 and he was just dominant from ball 1.
He was the exclamation mark. He really was. He came out. He was pretty quick. He was probably 20 off 20 odd, and just kept going. Made it easier for Smith, and then 110. Well done. He hasn't had a century since 2013.
Back in the side.
I think he's back.
Back in back in for a while now.
He's 31 now. He's probably at his peak just for form. He's matured. What can you do?
Exactly. He's probably got a couple of years left in him now. I think you would have thought at least. So the second innings obviously we batted much better. So Travis Head batted pretty well in the second innings, but a nice little partnership.
Both digs really
with Steve Smith, which was good. Obviously, probably the only worry possibly for Australia is the openers. Maybe not so much Warner. Not that Warner doesn't have a great record in the
Warner
in the
will
UK,
come
but,
good.
But what do we make of Bancroft's performance?
Just no feet at the moment. A little bit technique's not happening.
It's fiddle everywhere.
You can sort of remember saying that when he was last in the team anyway. So he can get castled quite easily, I think, by quality bowlers, ball moving around. It's different to Australian conditions.
I was worried about he was going to get LBW because he kept
castled LB, same thing.
Have to play him in that front pat. Castled.
Is this a Shires term?
What, you never heard of castled before to get bowled?
Well,
no.
When I was 8.
So it's a good mate. It's your castle. It's what you're defending.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to be using it now.
What would you prefer?
Every time
as a bowler.
Every time someone gets bowled, I'm going to use castle too.
Knocked over. Okay. Oh yeah.
Skittled.
Castled.
Castled. It's a good term. I like it.
Okay.
I like it.
Right.
So England were obviously a little bit on the back foot early with Jimmy Anderson only bowling the 4 overs. Came into the first test obviously under a little bit of an injury cloud. He hurt his calf and obviously they thought he was right. He said he was right, but 4 overs in, bit of tight calfness. And that was good English. I thought that was good English.
Tight calfness.
Tight calfness. Yeah.
Well, we wouldn't have got to 84 if he was fit. So good.
Yeah. So that's. So he's gone for a scan, and apparently there's no strain. There's nothing wrong with this.
I know what the prognosis is.
What is it?
He's old.
He's old. He's just old.
Yeah.
How do you think England can go if he doesn't play in the rest of the series?
Well, they just bring in Archer, don't they? He goes all right.
He does. Be okay.
Yeah.
Good replacement.
Should have been there. If he was a bit lack of match fitness. He had a bit of a dodgy.
He had a side strain during the back end of the World Cup, so that's why he was out. But Stuart Broad bowled well, I thought. There may have been a few question marks about him. He's again Anderson and Broad again into the back end of their career. They do have over 1,000 wickets together, but
see how they're going by Test 3 or 4 too. That's when you're going to start to struggle.
Yeah, but I thought he bowled.
I usually start
really well.
struggling just a bit after lunch when I play.
Yeah,
Test 3 or 4, they'll be all right.
You think he was their pick? You think he was the pick of their bowlers? Stuart Broad? Yeah.
Ali bowled pies.
That's a concern for them.
I think he's mentally against Australia. He's just shot.
He's a bit short. Obviously,
he tried a bit of a little bit of mind games before the Test series, and everyone's just thinking,
bit of chirping. That's not going to work.
Shut up.
No. Obviously, Nathan Lyon enjoys him being in the team because it's a guaranteed wicket for him. But you would think that there may be a change there. Do you think they'd bring in a different spinner? Jack Leach probably.
How's Rashid been going?
Yeah, or Rashid, the leggy. You'd think they'd have to make a change. He's not he's not batting well either.
Probably Leach, because Rashid, you're probably looking at 3.5, 4 runs and over. That's the issue they've got there. They've got to make a change there. Roy, that shot he played last night.
Oh, that was terrible, wasn't it?
It was park cricket, pretty much. It was pretty funny.
That was just pressure.
That was him just trying to break the shackles and just trying to do something different. His one day mode came out there, and he just.
As an Australian supporter, I'm glad Burns got that 100 because, well, firstly, when he got the 100, 100's 100. It's magnificent, but he played and missed 45 times,
Didn't
and
he?
it was, and
That's where Australia didn't in the first innings, and that's why they were 8 for 100.
We were good.
Yeah, we were much better at nicking them.
Yeah, we're good.
We were much better at nicking them probably throughout the Test match, to be honest.
Yeah.
And then they England played and missed a lot.
I think the pitches are going to get a bit more spicy from here on in too, so I don't think there'll be much spinning involved for the next 4.
Yeah, they talked about in their coverage last night, which that's obviously going to make it interesting because it's going to put the England batting line up under pressure as well.
Yeah, that's
because it's also going to benefit us. We've got 2 fairly handy bowlers sitting on the sideline in Mitchell Stark and Josh Hazlewood.
Not often you have 2 blokes who are averaging late 20s.
Yeah.
Sitting there. it's weird.
Do you think they'll make a change, Stephen? Do you think we'll see one of those guys in for the second Test?
Maybe not. I think winning.
Not after winning.
No, if it was a loss, maybe. That bowling unit last night was just clinical.
Who would you
just brilliant
remove?
to watch?
Well, I said that's the problem. Who do you take out? It's probably Siddle's probably the guy that is
he was
sort of most vulnerable, but he bowled. But yeah, like you said,
unlucky last night.
He bowled really well. What do you think? What about? It's good to see James Pattinson make a return. 3 years out, plenty of injuries. He's got back in. What did you make of his bowling?
A little bit erratic.
Yeah.
Again, yesterday he was really good, and the second spell not so much. A couple of overs he sort of sprayed them. I think they're just trying at that stage. They're just trying to get wickets,
trying to get him out.
They knew that England weren't going to chase, so you attack.
Yeah, just go hard and take the wickets. So now, obviously, one of the big talking points out of the game, unfortunately, was the umpiring. I'm not sure the third umpire has been as busy in a game as he was over the last 5 days.
There was, I think, 10 decisions overturned.
Yeah.
8 for that.
Our poor mate Joel Wilson.
Yeah.
From the West Indies, he did struggle.
He looked worried and nervous yesterday.
I think by yesterday he was guessing.
Yeah.
You could see that with the first LB, I think to Root, it was missing leg stump by another ball.
Yeah.
And then not giving the one that was hitting the top of the stumps. I thought, well, these guys are absolutely shot.
Yeah.
The confidence, umpiring's all about confidence. If you haven't got confidence,
same as playing.
You're just guessing at that stage.
Especially if you've got a couple wrong early and they keep getting overturned. Yeah, I mean there was another one to Root where there was a massive inside edge.
The ironic part is he will be the third umpire next game.
Yes,
he won't get that much work.
Yeah, so they do change it, and he goes to the third umpire.
But he's supposed to be in the third Test, so we'll see if there's any changes by then.
We'll see what happens.
Because that rating for that match will not be good.
No.
Well, there was one dismissal last night where the appeal had stopped.
Yeah.
And he still hadn't put his finger up, and they went, "Yeah, that's out."
Yeah, and he was lucky.
That was a guess. That was Bairstow when it hit him on the sweatband. Bairstow reviewed it because he thought it just hit his forearm, but luckily got a little bit of.
I remember being told when I was younger that don't wear the sweatbands, but they're on the gloves now.
Yeah,
or attach anything to them.
Don't attach anything to them because otherwise, if it hits it, you're in trouble. So, we hadn't won at Edgbaston since 2001. I think we were all sort of, we were all sort of confident that we could do well and get there. I think we were hoping that if we came away with a draw, that would be a great result. But
we've also got to remember how special that team was back in that era.
That's true.
And
that's true.
The English were definitely not special at that.
Not then.
Era.
Not then. They got better. But so obviously now we've broken that hoodoo. I liked what Tim Payne said before the Test match. They were talking up how hostile the crowd is at Edgbaston, and how you're going to cope playing at the toughest ground to play it. And Tim Payne said, "Man, I can think of 15 other grounds that are tougher." You think that was probably that sort of mindset that the Aussies took in, just to not be intimidated by the crowd?
It's just dealing with rubbish questions from the media. Like some of those hacks are just. You look at it. You look at the people sitting behind the desk and think, I feel sorry for you. You just can't unleash and say, look, that was a terrible question. just go away.
Well, I think Tim answered it. Tim gave an honest answer.
Oh, I thought it was
didn't he?
brilliant. It was a brilliant answer because all the other journalists started laughing.
Yeah, because it's not that hostile. So I mean, they sing some songs. That's all they do. They sing some songs. There are probably more hostile.
They keep doing it if Smith keeps batting like that.
Yeah.
Do it for another 4 tests.
Do it for another 4 tests. There we go. Is that? I thought that so obviously there was obviously always going to be the crowd was always going to play its part and target Smith and Warner and Bancroft to a lesser extent, but I think all three of them handled that well. You saw Warner down on the fence at one stand and at one point, and they were singing the songs and he was playing along. He pulled out his pockets to show he didn't have anything in it. So I think the guys coped pretty well with that, and probably I wonder if the crowds will continue to be the same throughout the series now that.
Well, if Australia win again,
it's not affecting them.
They'll just turn on the English team. That's what they do. I mean, you think the Australian, like the Telegraph is, tabloid.
Yeah,
that stuff they got over there. It's just
they're pretty brutal.
You watch. I haven't had a look at the papers from overnight, but I reckon they would just be absolutely dissecting the English at the moment. What are the other options for Bancroft anyway? Like who's in the squad?
We've got Harris. You've got Harris.
Too early.
You've got Marcus Harris can come in.
Didn't really do much wrong, Harris.
No,
he got starts at least.
Yeah, not really. I don't think there was much that. I mean, he didn't do anything. He didn't do anything particularly wrong. And I don't think anybody.
70s, yeah.
I don't think anybody actually really expected Bancroft to come back in. He just sort of. He went to the UK and scored some runs, and so they put him in, and then he played well on that into squad game.
As a bowler, Stephen, just a quick question. With
I'm in trouble. He called me Stephen.
Uh-oh. Go ahead.
You were in trouble when you were younger. Burns, if he was in the squad, you could get through him, don't you reckon? There's a big gap there all the time. No, they were talking about Burns on English conditions. I don't think it would have been I don't see it working.
I think a lot of our batsmen, and I'll sound like a broken record for the people that know me, but I think all our batsmen struggle against a moving ball. I think it comes back to
Australian wickets,
we use, or Australian wickets and the ball we use for Sheffield Shield. If we're going to keep going over and playing the Ashes in England, we've got to get used to playing a ball that moves.
We do use it. We do use it for the second half of the. We do use the Dukes in the second half.
We can't really use it. I honestly think we should use them all the time. I know the Kookaburra's got obviously a contract or something, and they've pretty much got a monopoly.
Use a regulation ball. Don't use a turf ball.
Use a regulation in shield cricket, you reckon?
Yeah, 100%. Make the batsmen earn it, and that they will get better playing a moving ball.
What about bowling though? What about bowling like with a regulation compared to a turf ball when you
more movement
when you swap? Obviously from the regulation point of view, but then when you go and then you're bowling with a turf ball, how much different what have you got to do differently to get the turf ball to swing?
Oh, it's just it's just subtle movements in the hands of the seam position. The seam's flatter. Yeah. So you've just got to angle the seam a bit more.
Yeah.
To get it right. So, look, I know they're going to say, well, you're going to get teams bowled out for whatever, but batsmen have got to get used to it. It's like getting a ball machine out there and just letting it go.
Let them go.
Since the turn of the century, the pitches have just become benign, flat, dead. Just batsmen are used to playing on the up now.
Something interesting that
sucks to be a bowler
that I heard
in Australia
on the coverage, which might have obviously might be having an impact on the pitches. This pitch at Edgbaston was pretty slow. It was pretty flat. Obviously took some turn at the end, but of course they put so much drainage now into these grounds so that you can try and if it rains you can get on. It obviously takes away a lot of the water, so it sucks a lot of the moisture out, which then makes the pitches quite dry. So it's probably a bit hard to try and keep moisture in them.
No, I think the groundsmen are scared to have too much moisture because all of a sudden a team's 3 or 4 for 10.
Yeah.
And the groundsman's the worst in the world. They're going to have the governing body all over them saying, we want this to go 5 days. into the last session.
Considering the ICC, they love a dry spinner's wicket. Let's face it, they are India.
Well, yeah, possibly. Yeah, I mean, there's not supposed to be any real sort of doctoring of the wickets, but
we see it all the time. They make these beautiful green wickets, and then they get all these people out there with scour brushes and just to get rid of it completely.
Just to rough it up.
I've seen balls bounce through and go through the surface in the over one. There's got to be a bit of a Every wicket should have their own characteristics. Some should swing. I mean, India, I honestly think in the future we will face them on green wickets because they've got enough bowlers.
Yeah, they've got. Yeah, so it obviously comes also down to what your bowlers and what you can produce, and if you can produce, like India now are producing good fast bowlers, so they would prefer to play on some wickets with some
1.4 billion. There should be plenty
and some movement rather than on some low flat wickets where it's not really good for good for quicks.
Good for watching. They're going at 2 odd and over.
Not really. So, but we'll see what happens when come the second Test match in Lords. Are they going to produce a pitch like they did for the Ireland game?
Oh, that was green.
Where it was green, but apparently it was still sort of hard, but it was green. And obviously we saw Ireland skittle England out for 85, and then even on the last day England bowled Ireland out for.
They won't do that
36.
wicket. They want the revenue.
True.
They want 4 or 5 days minimum.
But then,
4 days.
But then, what's best for England to get back in this Test match? A flat deck or a wicket that's got something in it, Stephen?
Well, you got to go to your strength, don't you? So where's England's strength?
I'm not sure. I don't know if they know what their strength is at the moment.
Probably Archer when he comes in.
Well, if Archer does play, obviously he's bowling at 150. Are we getting something that's got a little bit in it? But I guess the danger in that is if they lose the toss, and we decide to send them in on a green deck and take advantage of it. But I think they've just. I mean, as long as you produce a decent wicket, I think it'll be fine. I think if you try and go too much to the extreme and put in a wicket that's a bit too green, it's not gonna. I don't think that's gonna help. I don't think that's gonna help them.
I know we won by 250 odd runs or whatever, but we can still lose this series. It's going to be one of those.
It's 5 series. It's a 5-game series, and we've only won one game. So we're going to Lords, where traditionally we have played quite well. We have a good record there. Australia over the years have got a good record. England's record against Australia there is not great, so which is handy. So we're thinking that Australia will be the same 11. Don't see any changes in that.
No.
Excellent.
I doubt it.
Succinct, Stephen. All right.
Well, straight to the point.
Straight to the point. Yeah. So we'll stick the same. What about England? We think that
don't care.
Don't care. I don't know.
Well, the opposition.
Just imagine that you did.
Ali will probably go.
Yeah.
Stoneman in for whoever.
Stoneman.
Yeah, get Mark Stoneman.
He just wants ex-St George players in the team.
Well, they're generally decent cricketers, so. Have two St George openers over the batting. You think?
That's a great look.
Burns and Stoneman. Yeah. That'd be right.
And Hazelwood opening for Australia.
Yeah.
And Fly Copeland over there.
Fly Copeland over.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
He'd go right on that.
Yeah. Get KP in as well.
And Moses to bat 6.
Moses to bat 6.
Sorted.
Done.
5-0.
It'll be St George versus England.
Yeah.
Eh?
5-0.
Yeah. So yeah, I think they'll probably have to try and get Archer in. I think they'll be hoping that he's over his side strain, and they've got to try and get him in, because otherwise they're gonna. I think they might struggle a bit. Their attack was not bad. I mean, Wokes is not bad, but obviously missing Anderson, they basically lost their gun, their head, and you had to have Stokes bowling maybe a bit more than possibly they wanted to. Still a very good bowler, but you want him more short and sharp impact, rather than having to bowl the bulk of the overs, and then they obviously really, with Ali being so out of form, I think Joe Root probably bowled better than Moeen did in this Test match.
Oh, it was a massive plus for Australia with Anderson doing his baby cow. It's a injury that it's sort of a play it by ear sort of injury.
Yeah.
So it's not something that'll just heal straight away.
They had to get over it. It's not a
So it's going to take time. So it'll be a big call as to whether he's, going to get through the next test.
I've got a little bit of time. So the next test, not too much, because the next test starts on the 14th of August. So I don't have a lot of time to get him right, and do they take the chance or put him in, and then same thing happens again, and then you're on the back foot again because you've lost him again because he only bowls 4 overs, or he does it worse and he tears it and he's out for the whole series.
I don't think he'll play. I think they'll have to give him
a spell.
If he was 27, it might come through a bit more. But how many thousands of overs has he bowled? The bodies that you get to an age where
it's just not good. It just doesn't recover as quick.
It happened to Ben McGrath around the same age.
Yeah.
You could just say injuries kept happening, and once he's out there, I mean, he's a good bowler in England, but it could be it.
Yeah. Rightio. Now on another cricket matter, I saw this morning that Dale Steyn's retired from Test cricket. He's pulled the pin. Obviously, he struggled recently with some shoulder injuries, and obviously had
34, isn't he?
Yeah, had some shoulder injuries. So end of an era for South African cricket, for world cricket. Was definitely going to go down as one of the best bowlers, Stephen.
Yeah, he's a quality bowler. Just ran in hard and let it rip, and he was I'm not too keen on any foreign bowlers, but he would if he was Australian. Well, I'm just telling how it is. I follow Australian bowlers, and I don't really care about anyone else.
Steve's full on, a lot like his oat chocolate milk.
Yeah.
No, I'm not talking about them.
They're still not
grubs.
Still haven't. Or definitely get a sponsorship.
Yeah,
now.
no, well, they had their chance.
Red Bull's got more money.
They had their chance.
We might be able to get something off them.
Speaking of sponsors, what about the ads between the overs there last night? My goodness. Michael Clark, seriously, what is he talking about?
What do you mean? He's wanging
your life's the greatest century. What does that mean?
I don't know if I want to live to be 100.
And seriously, after every over, it makes me not want to buy it. Look, I'll buy Synovus. Thank you. I don't want to buy your product because you're boring me to death with it.
Okay.
I'd rather be happier and die earlier.
Jeez.
But they are chewable, though.
I'm surprised they...
Where were we?
Clark.
Dale Steyn. Quality bowler. If he was Australian, I'd love him.
Always attacking. You never seen him bowl a spell where he's just outside off stump trying to bore someone.
Yes.
He was good enough to get in there, and at his peak he was too good for us, pretty much.
At his peak it was the best. So well done, Dale. Luckily now we don't have to face him anymore. Which is good. It's good news to all batsmen around the world.
Is it just tests, or is he?
I think at the moment it's just tests.
He
He might hang around to try and play some. Obviously,
you need
the limited over sort of stuff.
You need your super.
You need some super, but obviously maybe a bit less taxing on the body. He's had a bad shoulder injury for a while, and he's never quite been able to get over.
I saw a quote from him this morning that was something like, "As painful as it is to leave Test cricket, the thought of never being able to play again is a lot more scary."
Yeah,
something along those lines. I guess injury related, like you guys are saying.
Yeah, so still be good that he'll be around in the shorter formats of the game. We can still watch him play. Still on surfing and cricket, I saw something also last night where they're changing their structure. Obviously, they had a poor World Cup. And they're going to get away from the head coach,
Otis Gibson,
and go with more of an English football manager style, and then have your specialist coaches underneath. I see you're a fan of that idea, Stephen.
Yeah, seriously.
As a head coach yourself, what are your thoughts?
I've got to be careful. It's just, he can get too funky with things. I know they had a terrible World Cup, but maybe he wasn't the man to do it, man to take him there.
Maybe they just didn't have the players either.
That's it.
Just keep it simple. Keep it simple. It's, changing for changing's sake. I don't know. Yeah.
Even like, I'll give Sri Lanka as an example. They had a poor World Cup. Basically, they selected a squad that a lot of them hadn't played for a couple of years. It was obviously government interference and whatever. And no one was expecting them to do well. And suddenly, after the World Cup, the sports minister comes out and says, we're going to make some changes, get rid of the coaches and everything because they didn't make they were never going to make it anyway.
No.
I mean...
And then they built that. Yeah. Then they play a one-day series against Bangladesh.
So you feel like the coaches, like there's only so much you can do. There's only so much you can polish a turd. I know that's an awful saying, but
coaches don't tend to. They don't go out and play the game, do they? So it is still up to the players. Coaches
obviously as the coach.
Coaches can make a difference. We obviously have.
They don't have the quality. There's obviously massive issues over there in.
Well, but they
infrastructure, everything.
With Sri Lanka, they dropped a lot of their name players before the World Cup, and
careful.
But it will be interesting. Obviously, most sides, if you ever go to the cricket and you're there before the start of playing, you watch a warm up. There's a lot of
we had 16
support staff.
We had 16 support staff.
Yeah,
both England and Australia.
Yes, there's lots of support staff. So you're thinking that there are specialist batting coaches, and everyone's got a specialist batting coach, and everyone's got a specialist bowling coach and a fielding coach. So maybe you just need someone to coordinate all that.
But it just sounds like it's going to be a different title instead of coach.
Pretty much,
it's manager.
Yeah, it's going to be the same thing. You're delegating to people anyway.
Seriously, it's a title. You're still doing the same stuff. So
if you're going to be a manager, I want him to watch the games in a suit.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Turn up in a suit. What's in a suit? Fair enough. But you might be right, Stephen. It's basically just a change in title rather than
service.
Maybe anything else. I don't know if that means that you don't necessarily have to have the greatest cricketing knowledge. You just have to be a good manager and a good coordinator. Rather than
the Alan Jones theory.
Rather than having international first class experience to coach.
Regarding South Africa anyway, I think they're going to have a few lean years. I mean, Amla's not far from pulling the pin.
Yeah.
A few of the other players never quite reached their potential, and they're already gone like Dumini and so forth.
Dumini. So they've
got Rabada.
They've got some work to do. They've got some rebuilding to do. So we'll see if this I don't know if this is going to help at all. Or change it. So, and
they've still got issues with quotas and so forth, which, I mean, we never lived in that country. It's going to be
That's always they've always got that.
There's always some sort of undercurrent in that
to sort out
cricket at South
Africa.
And Alan Donald's almost close to retiring.
Yeah. We can come back in now that Dale Stone's retired. You reckon?
Klusener could go soon.
I'm seeing you. I'm thinking you paid close attention to South African cricket, Stephen.
Yeah.
It's a pet hobby of yours?
None of them played for Esos and George, so I don't know.
So you're not paying attention. Fair enough. Rightio. So as we look to the second test and head towards the home of cricket, that is Lords. What are we predicting? Can we make some predictions? Are we thinking that we can go 2-0 up?
Sorry.
Pain.
As in Tim. As in Tim Payne.
Tim to click, and he kept well. He kept well last night.
He did keep well. Yeah.
Let's hope he can get some runs with the bat and lead us to victory.
Got a nice 30 odd, which he usually
But his
does,
keeping is good. I mean, he's there for that.
Yeah.
Been seeing a lot of what social media is like, and everything seems to be on the negative side.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking he's not there to score hundreds every game. It's good to contribution from him. I mean, he's batting 7, so he's got to get some runs.
He's got to get something.
But he's keeping, and you compare it to Bairstow's, just technique and everything. He's just he is a good keeper.
That's why they originally picked him, because he was the best keeper in the country, and he's continuing to prove that. And now he's still doing that with the added burdenship of leadership. Speaking of leadership, there was some interesting things, sort of, obviously with Smithy back in the team. There's a bit of talk that Smithy was doing a bit of captaincy. He was moving some fielders around. He was talking to Nathan Lyon. I didn't see too much in it. I thought it was a good thing. You're looking at you want your
You're
experience.
a fast bowler. I'm not sure. Were you ever captain? You don't need to be, but...
Sorry, you said fast bowler. I didn't know what you were talking about.
No, I retired from bowling a long time ago.
Seamer.
Yeah.
I didn't know Nick bowled quick. But
today you learned.
You've got your players in your team, like I had, you have.
Yeah.
Like, you can just... They can do some stuff in the field, but, like...
Yeah, I don't think he was doing it. I don't think he was doing it sort of independently of and going against Tim Payne. I think it was more
because Tim Payne was right next to him anyway.
Exactly. I mean, they're standing next to each other for most of the game, and I thought it was good actually. Smith with line because you listen to the commentary, you listen to Warney, he's talking about he needs to change his lineup. He's bowling too quick. He's doing this. He's doing that. And then basically, Steve Smith was telling him, bowl wide of off stump, and he was doing it. And he was encouraging him. So I think it's a good thing that you've got you've got other leaders out there to.
And then it was the tabloids to bring that up, and that's what it basically is.
Yeah, because I mean, being a captain and being across everything that's going on in a game is hard work. So if you've got some assistance,
especially as a keeper,
yeah,
I mean, you're always in the game. So. It's understandable that senior guys, I think every team I played in, you'd have senior guys sort of guiding the young fellas and sort of just telling them that, I reckon you should be doing this.
Yeah.
And the captain will be all right with it.
Yeah.
It's, as long as everyone's on the same page.
Yeah.
It's just getting the message through.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it was anything like, Tim Payne moved a bloke somewhere and Steve just said, no, go, completely the opposite direction. I don't think it was any of that. I think it was... I think it was a bit, like you said, David, a bit of tabloid talk.
He's only moving him a foot or two anyway when he was doing it. So
yeah. And sometimes it's just because some bloke's just slightly out of position because he's not paying attention.
He was the one out there batting for both those innings. He knew a lot about the pitch.
Yeah.
So he knew how to bowl on it.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Now, of course, as always, if you don't agree with what we've said, we'd like to hear from you. So obviously get in contact with us. As I'm always poor at this, Nick, you just run through the socials.
Definitely, man. Reach out to us on we're here. Podcast is here on YouTube. If you're watching us, thanks for watching us. If you're listening, thanks for listening. You can hear us on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, and anywhere you want to anywhere you listen to podcasts. We have our RSS feed in the YouTube description. Reach out to us on Facebook at Kingsgrove Sports Centre, Instagram at Kingsgrove Sports, Twitter at Kingsgrove Sport, and if you want to reach us, use the hashtag KSC Podcast. So we know that it's for us.
And we can, we always go through. We always read the feedback. We like to hear from you guys. So
yeah, we do.
It takes about 2 minutes. It's great.
Yeah. Tell us what you think. Even if you don't have a question or a comment, just tell us what you think of the podcast.
Yeah, if you don't like Stephen, let us know.
Man, please. If you don't like Steve, give us all. We'll compile it into a big list, and we'll do a segment on a podcast. Here's all the people that don't like Steve, and here's what they've said about it.
Get in the queue.
Yeah, it's long.
Here's an interesting fact.
And the care factor 0.
What have we got?
Since Nathan Lyon's test debut,
yep,
he has got the most wickets in world cricket.
350, yeah.
He's destroying the opposition. He's one ahead of Harath, who's retired, so he would have been okay anyway.
Yeah. He's the GOAT.
He is.
He's the GOAT, Nathan Lyon. He's the GOAT. It was good to see that, he spun us to victory last night. 6 for Lyon, 4 for Cummins. Thanks for coming. 1-0 up. And I'm guessing we're probably universal in this. We think we'll go 2-0 up after the second test.
Maybe.
Hopefully. Yeah.
All right, maybe not as confident as I thought. Well, that was a ringing endorsement of our performance. All right. Well, I reckon
we've got some.
Have we got some questions?
We've got some. I just noticed we've got a really huge. I'll have to shorten it for the video. It's a super long question from YouTube.
Yeah.
It's referencing the first day of the Ashes, a couple of days old. But if there's anything, if you guys want to check out maybe that comment.
Let's see. Is it this?
Yeah, there you go.
What is this? So intriguing first day of the Ashes. Controversial but interesting question for you. So England and Australia would have set it with the intention of winning both Ashes and the World Cup this summer. Yes, that's true. But do you agree that in reality England needed to win the World Cup this summer a lot more than they needed to win the Ashes, and vice versa with Australia needing to win the Ashes more than the World Cup?
No.
Technically, England didn't win the World Cup. They drew it.
And just tick all boundaries.
Yeah.
England have been focusing on white ball cricket for the past 4 years, basically. They've been setting themselves for the World Cup.
They won't even remember the World Cup victory if we're ahead 3-0 after 3 tests.
Yeah, possibly. I wonder. Yeah,
be a long way away.
I think they probably need to. I think they would rather have won both. You think?
100%. Every time you go into a competition, you're planning to win that.
I don't think they would have. I don't think they would have thought. If we win the World Cup, good. Don't worry about the Ashes. Doesn't matter.
I think the core of this question, though, is the World Cup victory more important to England, and is the Ashes victory more important to Australia?
No,
I reckon we would have wanted. We would. I mean, from a Australian point of view, we would have wanted to win both.
The guy leads with that. Obviously, you want to win both, but do you feel like one is more important than the other for either of those nations' teams?
No. I think winning either of them would do each country good.
In the end, one-day cricket's really exciting once every 4 years, as far as I'm concerned. So there's a lot of tournaments and that where you just don't even remember what happened.
I think
a week later.
I think. Yeah. Look, you like you said, you want to win both.
Yeah.
I don't think one is more important than the other.
What else we got?
Fair enough. Okay.
I'm gonna have to get you into a seminar and discussion, man. What it's like to actually talk about something.
Yeah, we've done that to death.
He's moved it on.
We've belted that. We've answered it.
I just like to quickly say that it's pre-season now in the cricket, and if you need your bat if you need it repaired or anything,
there you go.
Come and see Dave. Come and see Dave.
Jeez, ambush marketing.
Good. No, I like that a lot.
Dave's a wizard with cricket bats, man.
I like that a lot.
Looking for another question here.
Yeah. Let's have a look. So
I've compiled our questions here. Some of them have more substance than others.
Why do we think Stark and Hazelwood weren't picked?
Yeah.
That's a great question. Who was that? Well done, them.
That was Smith _
No,
Alex.
that's James.
Oh, no, sorry. It was a James.
James _ Ryan 6.
Keep changing it. Sorry, James _ Ryan 6.
Well done, Ronnie. Great question.
What do you think? What are your thoughts on why they didn't get picked?
Hazelwood was rested from the World Cup to play the Ashes and didn't get picked.
Yeah.
The only, this is coming from an outside view. I'm not going to say that we've got inside knowledge because no one has unless you're on the inside. He must be still injured. There must be something that's just not right for him to be firing on all cylinders. Stark, I'm not sure.
I think it was in the papers, so take it with a grain of salt, obviously. When they did the contract list a few months ago, both Hazelwood and Stark went down a bit in the pecking order there.
Yeah.
And I don't know if there was any fallout from the India series last year when they were going against team directions and so forth about pitching the ball up in the final test and deciding, we'll bowl short anyway, and we got smashed.
Interesting, especially, obviously
Hazelwood looked a bit worn out by the end of last year. He's obviously good to go. His bowling would be good on English wickets. Stark would be good at Lords, but what do you do now after the first test? That's the
interesting thing. They sort of said, they'll play a part in the series at some stage, long series, etc., etc. But after the bowlers have performed so well in this Test match, do you bring one in for Lords? Mitch is obviously coming off a great World Cup where he was the pick of the bowlers and bowled really well. And he has been. He's been bowling well in Test cricket for a number of years. He's got over 200 Test wickets, and
you don't average 28 in Test cricket
and be a bad bowler. Yeah. So
I think Hazelwood's 27, 28. He's bowling average too. So
and you got to remember the last time we played England. Yes, look, it was in Australia, but the bowling lineup of Stark, Hazelwood, Cummins, and Lyon all took 20 wickets each. So interesting to see.
I think Hazelwood was one of the most most used bowlers in. I got there.
He tends to bowl. He tends to. Apparently not. He can bowl. Yeah. He can bowl a lot of overs.
I think there was 2 or 3 years there where he was just. It gets to you after a while. Your body does wear out a little bit. He might have needed a bit of a rest. He got that, but. I thought he should have been in the. I should have been in the World Cup squad too. To be honest with you,
I think he should have been in the World Cup squad too. Just something a bit lighthearted to finish on. Who's got better commentary, Australia or England?
England.
I'm going to have to say England because...
They just get it.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, by the Fox is better than Channel 9. I honestly think by the last few years of Channel 9 it was a bit cringeworthy, and for a while there it just seemed Shane Warne and Michael Clark were just patting each other's bum. So that really annoyed me. It was all about Warney. A lot of the things they keep talking about what he did.
I mean, did you notice who sent through that question?
Yeah, that was I think that was a former staff member.
Yeah, one Andrew Wilkinson.
Hello, Andrew.
Andrew,
hey, he's still alive. Good work.
Bumble Lloyd is one of the. I love.
He's funny. The guys are good. Mike Hatherin's a good commentator. They get it. Kumak Sangakara's on now, which is good.
It's not what you say.
No,
it's what you don't say. And they leave pauses.
Sometimes they don't speak at all.
Well, it's brilliant.
They don't try and fill. They don't fill the space. They've learned from Richie Beno.
100%.
If you don't have anything to say, don't say anything.
Well, that your admiration for their pauses that instructs me on your podcast sort of style. That you appreciate the.
Well, if I've got nothing to say, I'm not going to say anything.
It's like jazz music. It's the notes they don't play. Yeah.
It doesn't make for a good podcast, man. People are literally listening to us talk.
Should we end on it? Maybe.
Well, not if someone else isn't talking.
We should end on a pause. Should we all end on a pause?
End on a pause.
Just end on a pause.
But I just think it's they get it.
Yeah.
You don't have to keep repeating yourself time after time. And Warren did it. I think it was last night. I think it might have been the night before. He said patience about 8 times in a sentence. That this bloke's got patience, but these guys need patience because patience is going to get them here because that's what patience does. And so, mate, shut up. We get it.
Yeah, patience.
Let the ball be bowled, and if you don't have anything else to back it up with,
don't say anything.
Just let the crowd noise. Let turn up the stump mics. Let's listen to the boys. Have a chat.
It's like John Madden, the John Madden football commentator for you, who just let's say stuff like, "Well, you score more points, you win more games." Like, yeah, John,
thanks.
That's how it works.
Brilliant, wonderful insights. Yeah, sometimes less is more, isn't it? Yeah.
Does a good gridiron game on video games too, John Madden.
He did. All right. Well, that's it. 1 test down, 4 to go. Off to the home of cricket. Starting on the 14th of August. Always a wonderful occasion, a test match at Lords, whether you're lucky to be there or just watching it at home on your couch.
I'm going to say Stark will play. That's what I'm going to.
All right, that's
Dave. Next test.
That's Dave's big prediction. Stark in. I hope you're right, Dave, because I want to see him. I want to see him play. England don't play left arm quick spell at all.
They do well at Lords.
And they do well at Lords. Yeah, they've got a good slope. So
unless he doesn't swing it,
let's pick him. No, let's put him in. Put him in. He'll be right, Mitchell. All right. So done and dusted. We'll catch you next time on the next Kingsgrove Sports Centre podcast. Thanks, everybody. It was insightful. Delightful. Thanks, Nick.
You gonna end on your pause?
Everybody, let's pause. Let's pause and reflect.
Now we got to go to work.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Catch you next time.
Thanks for joining us.
Bye.
See ya.